Good morning, guys. Hope everyone's doing well. So I'm sitting at a shipper in Poway, California. Um, the sun just came up and it's coming right through the window, so I closed the curtain real quick. Anyway, um, I just did a little load board. I'm going to upload it, and you see a bit more box truck activity. And as I've been telling you guys, don't make Amazon your only move. Don't go out and open up an authority just to work Amazon box trucks. I've been saying it like since I first even discovered the box truck market. um, Amazon will drop that whole segment once they're ready to. And there are people now that have dedicated box truck loads that are starting to drop their routes because Amazon just changed it up on them, and it's not paying them the way it was. And so we're going to start seeing here over the next few weeks more box truck availability because the rate has been dropping even for the dedicated guys. The dedicated guys were the ones that kind of had it good because at the very least they had their routes and they knew what they were going to make on the route. And so, once you can, let me start that thought process over. The problem you have with running Amazon loads is the instability of the rate. Even for me, keeping drivers happy and, in a truck was difficult because one day we take a 500-mile load and it pays $1,800. The next day, that same load, but going in the opposite direction, we can't find anything that pays well, and it's $1,100 coming the other way. And so the drivers paid a percentage. And then the day after that, we don't find them anything. And so now all of a sudden that driver's frustrated and he's not sleeping well because he's delivering to these Amazon locations that take hours to unload you. And so that was part of why we switched away. And I kept trying to convince them, look, guys, let's just, let's make our mark. Let's do a good job. Let's get, let's make a name for ourselves, try and get some dedicated routes. And then once we're dedicated, I can say, you're going to be gone on a solo 2, and you'll be home tomorrow night, and then you'll be gone again for 2 days, and you'll be home the following night. And you'll do that 3 days or three trips. And in time, we just saw that it wasn't going to happen in our area. And so the lesson here, I believe, is if you guys are about to jump into this, make sure you have other alternatives. There's a couple other YouTubers now that are saying it loud and clear. I'm going to drop my routes. If you're in the Atlanta area, get ready because I'm going to drop routes, and this guy's going to go look for an entirely different market. The problem is if you're out in kind of a rural area where there's no market other than Amazon, you're going to be stuck. And that's what I've been trying to say from the get-go. You need to make sure before you commit yourself to this that there's more work than just Amazon. Amazon is a good backup, but it shouldn't be your primary. Anyway, I do a little load board reviews based on some of the regions that I was asked for. I do ask that you guys specify what city. Someone asked for the Texas region. I could pick a city and do 300 miles from that city, and it won't cover a fraction of Texas. And so, it's difficult for me to understand what Texas region is. And that's a problem with all YouTubers that are sharing load board information. They're all asking the same thing. You got to give me a city so I can do this. Obviously, if you live in Dallas, you're not going to care about the Houston market. It's too much of a deadhead for you to go pull a load from there. But anyways, hope you enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. Hey guys. All right, so I'm sitting in Poway, California. I'm being unloaded as we speak, so the video might get interrupted. I got to head north to Chino and grab a load. We get some really good paying loads out of there. This load to Poway was something to get me out of NorCal on Friday. It paid well enough, so I picked up the load on Friday, went home, spent the weekend at home, and then early this morning came down Poway. For those of you that aren't familiar, Poway's in the San Diego area. And so I'm going to have like a 60-mile deadhead back towards LA. But still worth it when you count all the miles in. I'll get a really good paying load out of that area. Anyway, so someone had asked me, they're out of Yuma, and they were asking if they can come down to San Diego. The problem is, you know, like right now it's set to a 100-mile radius, and you'll see the loads are actually the LA market. They're not here locally. Excuse me. If I cut this down to like 50 miles, you'll see there's no matches. That doesn't mean there isn't any work here, but San Diego's more of an outlying area as opposed to being like a hub. So if you're in California, your major hub is that Ontario area. You'll have ONT 4, 5, 6, and 7. A lot of freight moves there. And so the way Amazon does it is a lot of their inbound freight, in other words, freight from vendors, go there. And then from those facilities, they send trucks out to their outlying areas. So like, you know, Bakersfield, they're building one in Oxnard. There's one in Camarillo. So stuff that's a ways from that hub gets covered from, you know, the hub basically. And so sometimes people get really excited because they're like, hey, Amazon's coming to town. There's going to be a bunch of work. A lot of times the work that you think is going to come is actually round trip trucks. They come, they drop a loaded trailer, and they take an empty one back, and the local doesn't really get a whole lot of work. Anyway, as you can see, the San Diego market doesn't have a whole lot. Not for either or. I went ahead and preloaded some of the markets that people asked me for. Nashville I've done before. So I suggest, when I say I've done them before, and I remember I've done it before, I suggest you guys go back and look through some of the old videos so you can see what the rates were when I did it compared to what they are now. If I did the rates around Christmas time, you'll see what the peak is, and it looks like they're coming to tell me I'm done. All right, sorry about that, guys. They finished unloading me, and you know, I needed to get a signature and get off the man's dock. So, Nashville was when I was requested. I know I've done Nashville in the past. There's seven loads out of Nashville. Let me make sure I don't have any filters on, just so we're not cutting that market short. Turn off the refresh because otherwise it keeps interrupting. So we have a trailer required 583 miles at 199. That doesn't go till Tuesday. I'm going to say if you sit on that, that one will go up probably to $1,400 to $1,500. That's about what I always got loads at in that area. Here's another one, trailer required 531 at 205. Here's a power only, 569 on the miles. It's a team load. Why, I don't know. I'm going to say they probably plan on holding you up bad on one end or the other. Why they need a team for that, I have no idea. At $153. There's a 90-mile load, trailer required. Actually, that's a box truck load. That's until Saturday at $260 a mile. There's another box truck, 152 miles for $188, and 108 miles for another box truck at $251. There's another YouTuber. It's kind of funny how you start communicating with these guys. There's another YouTuber, and now I feel horrible because I'm forgetting his name. He is next week going to be turning in a bunch of routes out of the Atlanta area, guys. The rates on the dedicated stuff according to him, got ridiculously cheap. And, you know, his philosophy is the same as mine. These one-way rates don't make money when you consider you have to come back and you can't find loads coming back. He's right on board with my ideology here. He's focused more on trucks, 53 footers, and in fact he's offering a dispatch service for 53 footers, and he's not doing anything for box trucks. He's going to pursue box truck activity out of his local airport in hopes he can find something there. Augusta, I know I did Augusta just a couple of weeks ago. And again, I'll encourage you guys to go back and find where I did it before so you can see what then versus now is. There's a trailer required, 310 miles for $201 a mile. There's a block. So this is what they call a solo 2 for $1,400. That means you're going to get $700 a day. There is a trailer required, 667 on the miles for $176. That's not until Friday. There's another block, even cheaper at $1,333, but of course that's for Friday. There's another block, another one, and there's a bunch of blocks there. The blocks are the reason why you're not finding any power-only local stuff. They've been shifting all of the power-only stuff into the blocks basically to get it done cheaper. Instead of you finding yourself 2 or 3 loads that you can make, let's say $300 or $400 a piece, they book these blocks for $700 for the day, and you know the trips get done way cheaper. Anyway, so here's a 1,000-mile trailer required going to Fall River, Massachusetts for $209 a mile, and then there's another trailer required going to Monroe, Ohio for $162 a mile. Rather cheap if you ask me. There's Akron, Ohio. I don't remember doing Akron. When I saw someone request this one, usually when I see a request, I'm like, I've done that one. I'm just not sure. So anyways, this is actually out of Euclid, which is 30 miles away. So it's 930 miles, power only, team load for $1.80 a mile. There's a box truck, 143 on the miles for $237. There's another box truck, 217 a mile for $223. There's another box truck, 114 miles for $256. There's another box truck for 137 miles at $270 per mile. There's another box truck, 104 miles for $353. There's a 159-mile box truck for $252. There's another box truck, 134 miles for $288. Another box truck, 139 miles for $273. Another box truck at 216 miles for $118. There's a 66-mile box truck for $437. There's a 106-mile box truck for $344 per mile. There's 184 miles on a box truck, $252 per mile. There's 144 box truck for $305 per mile. There's a 130 box truck for $270 a mile. I'm sorry, that was $278. There's a 119-mile box truck for $346. There's a 128-mile box truck for $314. There's a 132-mile box truck for $228. Akron does have some box truck activity. There's a 113-mile box truck for $250. There's a 248-mile box truck for $182. There's a 70-mile box truck for $371. There's a 120-mile box truck for $226. There's a 60-mile box truck for $410. There's a 58-mile box truck for $411. They're calling it a cube truck, but I believe it's the same thing. Just the person that requested it entered it differently. There's an 86-mile box truck for $284. There's a 65-mile box truck for $362. There's a 917-mile power only Teams for $199. There's a 249 box truck for $180 a mile. There's 248-mile box truck for $182. There is a 1,226-mile power only for $160. That'll surely go up between here and then. There's a trailer required load, $289 for $263 per mile. There's a 112-mile box truck for $223. And I'm going to cut that off at that point, guys, because it's off until next Tuesday, which is actually, wait a minute, that's tomorrow. Never mind. But you can see there's plenty of box truck. And so anyways, this market has quite a bit of box truck. So if you're looking for box truck activity, that's a place. Instead of making the video get really long, I'll kind of quickly scroll down and you guys can pause the video and look at some of these rates if you wanted to. Someone asked me for Raleigh. I know I did Raleigh, but I think I did that like before Christmas. There's 18 results. And so here you have a trailer required 168 miles for $377. There's a trailer required 227 miles for $468. That's not too bad. There's 709 miles trailer required for $221. There's 782 miles for a trailer required, $216 per mile. There's 853 miles trailer required for $226. There's 109 miles trailer required for $263. There's 582 miles for a power only Teams for $166. There's 582 miles trailer provided power only for $166. There's another Teams for $215. Another Teams for $276. There's another one, I'm sorry, that was $176. Another Teams for $175. Another Teams for $215. Another team for $202. Another team for $148. Another one for $215. Another one for $215. There's one for $148. And then one for $150. And then someone asked me about Orlando. And there's two. They're both team loads. One's at $1.41 a mile. The other one's at $1.51 a mile. The whole Florida market is really, really bad. It's just not a great market. There's too many trucks for too little work. Someone posted on one of the videos, the Texas region. Honestly, Texas is bigger than most small countries. I've covered Texas several times. If you don't tell me what city, it's really difficult to do Texas because it's so big. It just covers such a wide area. I've worked Texas pretty extensively. We're out of the El Paso area ourselves. And so I kind of need to know what city, guys. Anyways, as always, thanks for watching.